Be honest, have you ever listened back to your playing and thought, why doesn't this sound good? The problem isn't your talent, it's usually a few common mistakes, like basing your melodies too much off of the major scale. In this video, we'll break down exactly why your solos aren't connecting, and I'll show you 5 simple fixes you can use right away to make your jazz solos more musical, clear, and powerful. Hey, Josiah Bernasian from Learn Jazz Standards here. When our solos don't sound as good as they could, it's almost always because we're focusing on the wrong thing while soloing. Ask yourself, what am I really thinking about when I'm improvising? A different focus will give you a different musical outcome. So we're going to go over 5 simple tips that can help you refocus while you're improvising to avoid common mistakes and instantly sound better. Okay, so mistake number 1 is overplaying. Overplaying is when you try to cram too many notes into a solo and you don't leave enough space. As if I started my solo like this. And I just kept going and going and going, okay? So this happens when we focus too much on licks and notes and we don't focus enough on things like rhythm, phrase length, and overall solo architecture, okay? It's often because we're nervous and we're just trying to fill space or maybe keep track of where we are in the form. If we've worked on a bunch of stuff in the practice room, also, sometimes we're motivated to try and show off all the stuff we've been working on or test it out in real life. And so we ended up playing too much. We ended up cramming too much into a solo. This is really bad because either way, whatever your motivation is, playing too much, overplaying, leads to bad solos that aren't very musical. So to solve this, we're going to get comfortable focusing more on space and using rhythm as the main motivation behind your melodic ideas. Okay, so fix number 1 would be to, before you start playing, come up with a strategy that's going to allow you to use more space and focus more on the rhythm. One approach could be simply to consciously remind yourself to play more sparsely and leave more space. Take longer rests between your phrases like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just leave more space. Give yourself a mental reminder. A similar related approach would be to focus on the rhythm section. Listen to the rhythm section and try and get into a call and response pattern with the rhythm section. So for example, for the first measure of my solo, instead of playing immediately, I might listen to the left hand of the drum and try and hear what's the rhythm the drummer's playing on the snare drum. And maybe the drummer goes like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, do that. So maybe that's the rhythm he played in bar 1. So I might rest for bar 1 and then use that rhythm as my first idea that I'm going to play in bar 2, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, do that. Right, and then I played that idea again and I developed a little bit. So now I'm getting into a bit of a conversation with the drummer, kind of a call and response with the drummer with what he's doing with his snare drum. A similar approach, another variation on this, would be to intentionally decide to start your solo with a short rhythmic phrase and then develop that idea and get busier as your solo goes on, like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so I started with a simple idea, 1, 2, 3, 4, ba-doo-ba. Ba-doo-ba. And then I repeated it. I started to gradually develop and add to it. That's another great way to start. So don't overplay in your solos. Okay, common mistake number 2 is not connecting with the original melody of the song. Ignoring or neglecting the original melody when you're soloing often leads to weak solos. Often we get so focused on playing a bunch of hip stuff once it's our turn to solo that we end up just playing a bunch of melodic ideas that are not really connected to the original melody of the tune that we're improvising over. Great improvisers, on the other hand, often reference the original melody of the tune in their solos. So how to fix this? During your solo, play a quote or a variation of the original melody of the song. You can play a direct quote, like for example, if I'm playing Have You Met Miss Jones, there's nothing wrong with starting my solo like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just playing the melody again. You can do that at any time during your solo. You could also disguise it a little bit. So for example, I could reference the rhythm of the opening statement of the melody, but pick different notes like this, using Have You Met Miss Jones as an example. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so there I started with the rhythm, da, ba-doo, da, da, which is how the melody starts. But I'm picking different notes. You can also keep the same general pitches or general notes from the original melody, but maybe change the rhythm like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So there, I'm playing around with the rhythm, and I'm also adding notes to it. So, and that's the third approach, would be to mix and match any of these, and including just adding a lot of notes to the melody, decorating around the melody like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right, so there I'm adding and decorating around the melody. So this works best if you do it at the beginning of your solo or the end of your solo, but you can really do it at any time. It's especially helpful in the last 4 or 8 bars of your solo to quote the melody as a signal to the rhythm section that you're winding down your solo and you're about to finish. Okay, mistake number 3 is neglecting your tone quality or intonation or volume, your dynamic level, how loud or soft you're playing. These 3 are all related because tone quality, intonation, and volume are related topics, and they all have to do with the sound or the tone quality that you're producing on your instrument. This is more of a big deal for singers and horn players than for rhythm section players, but the principle is still universally applicable to all jazz musicians. Sometimes we get so nervous or distracted by the notes that we want to play that we neglect our tone quality or our intonation. So for example, if I'm not playing very confidently, I might end up playing kind of like this. So there, I don't sound very good, I'm out of tune, I'm not supporting my sound, and my notes aren't connecting very well. So this is a crucial mistake because the sound you produce is the first thing that listeners notice about you, and it doesn't require any musical training to know whether someone's producing a good sound with their voice or instrument or not. You either like the sound they're getting or you don't. You don't have to have any musical professional training to understand it. Okay, so when we're nervous or distracted, our tone quality and also our time, which we'll cover later, are usually the first things to go out the window. So how do we fix this? Take a deep breath, first of all, before you're playing or sing or your first note, and draw your attention back to your sound and your tone quality. This, in and of itself, often fixes the problem, simply drawing your attention back to it. This usually means for horn players and singers making sure that during that deep breath, you take a nice deep breath to both help you relax and to make sure you're tanking up with enough air that you can support your sound with good air support. Right, now I'm producing a better sound, I'm filling up the horn with more air, I sound more confident, and my notes connect better. So make sure you're breathing, supporting your sound with a lot of air. Play as best in tune as you can, and make sure that you are also listening for dynamic level or balance, volume. So when you're playing with the band, don't play so loud that you're way louder than everybody else, but also don't play so soft that nobody can hear you. And this is especially important for rhythm section players. You don't want to be the musician that's playing so soft that the soloist can't hear you, but you also don't want to be the person that's playing so loud that the soloist can't hear themselves. Okay? For drummers and pianists, this aspect of your playing is your touch, how you're attacking the notes on the instrument. You want to work on being able to get the best possible sound you can. Same thing with guitar players and bass players. Think about your pluck, how you're pulling the string as a bass player, and how you're strumming and picking as a guitar player. Produce the best possible sound you can. For everybody, make sure you practice your sound, work on your sound if you can. Get with a private teacher as well who will help you develop your sound. And also buy the best possible gear that you can afford to help you produce the best quality sound. So, play with the best possible sound you can and make sure you balance and blend with the ensemble. Okay, moving on to mistake number 4. Neglecting time and time feel. When we're nervous or distracted, often, just like our tone quality, our time is the first thing to go out the window. Suddenly people are playing musical phrases that don't really fit with the time or that don't communicate a good musical pulse, like this. So I was pretty nebulous with my time. You can't really tap your foot to that. I'm not playing clear rhythmic ideas. So this is totally normal and it's common, but it's a disaster for your solo. Just like your tone quality, time and time feel is something that everybody can notice regardless of their level of musical training. Just about everybody can tap their foot along to a song and tell if the band is grooving or not. And they can hear whether the soloist is playing something that fits in with that rhythmic groove or whether what they're playing is rhythmically completely unrelated. So it's such an essential aspect of music making. You should never neglect your time or your time feel. And just to differentiate, your time refers to how you're feeling and marking the tempo, meaning the pulse, right? And time feel refers to basically how you're swinging your eighth notes, if they've got a good swing feel or not. So the fix, just like with your tone quality, often the fix is simply first to draw your attention to your time and your time feel. When you're listening more intently to the rhythm section and to how what you're playing fits in with the rhythm section, often our time automatically improves instantly. One thing that can help is for your time feel, listen more intently to the ride cymbal and try and get your eighth notes and your chord notes to line up with the swing pattern being produced by the ride cymbal. So when you're playing with better time feel, people should be able to tap along to what you're playing if you're playing a cappella. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so you should be able to feel a good pulse and focus on playing with the best possible time and time feel that you can by listening intently to the rhythm section. Okay, mistake number 5 is playing too diatonically. Diatonic or diatonically means in the key. So playing too diatonically means sticking too much to just the plain, good old-fashioned major scale. If all of your melodies are just based off of the notes from the major scale, this leads to bad solos, because a huge part of jazz is using chromatic notes from outside the major scale, from outside the key that you're in. Mature improvisers intentionally incorporate chromaticism to spice up their solos. So, how do we fix this? Just introduce one or a few chromatic notes into your melodic lines. It works best if it's structured, but it doesn't have to be that structured to make a difference. A very common one would be to add chromatic passing notes between certain scale tones. So for example, if I play the B flat Mixolydian scale, which is the fifth mode of E flat major. So I'm playing E flat major scale, but I'm starting on concert B flat. That sounds like this. That's a very common scale to play over a B flat dominant 7 chord. So if I see B flat dominant 7, I'm going to grab my E flat concert major scale and play E flat major over B flat 7. The problem with that is it's too diatonic. There's no chromaticism. So what I can do is add a chromatic passing tone. A common one would be to play the major 7 or the natural 7, which is going to be an A natural. So I'm going to add a concert A natural in between my concert B flat and my concert A flat in that scale, like this. And at the top of that scale, now you can hear that chromaticism. A flat, A, B flat, B flat, A flat. That little bit of chromaticism helps spice up that otherwise diatonic scale. Another great way to approach this is to use what are called chromatic approach tones. So let's say I'm trying to play a concert B flat major triad. By itself, it's too diatonic. It doesn't sound very jazzy. So what I can do is just approach each one of those chord tones chromatically from below. So I'm just going to add a half step below to each one of those chord tones. Or from above. Or combine that and do above and below. So now I'm still playing that major triad, but I'm adding chromatic notes around the notes of the major triad to spice it up. Okay, so make sure you're not playing too diatonically when you're improvising. All right, if you need more help with topics like this and your goal is to get better at playing jazz, check out our Learn Jazz Standards Inner Circle. We learn a new jazz standard every month there, and you get access to all of our jazz courses on anything you need to know, as well as our community of other like-minded musicians, so you're not going it alone. Click the link in the description below to learn more. And if you found this video helpful, I have another video linked on screen that you're definitely going to enjoy. As always, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, remember to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.